Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Youth Coordinators Connect call. My name is Abby Ritter, and I am the Youth Advisory Specialist for April, and I use she, they pronouns. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat if you'd like. I'm going to launch a poll for us to decide what we want to chat about today. And once we get, as people trickle in and as people vote, we'll get started. Please note that we do have ASL today if needed. We also have CART. So if you want to turn on captions or transcript, you are more than welcome to do that. We are also recording and we'll send the recording out to those who registered. All right. Let's see. We have almost, I think everybody's voted. If you haven't voted, now's the time. I think that's everybody. All right. We'll keep an eye on the waiting room. Oh, more folks. There we go. Thank you all for introducing yourselves in the chat. Welcome in everybody who just joined us. My name's Abby Ritter. I'm the Youth Advisory Specialist at April. You should see a poll on your screen that you can vote in to decide what we want to chat about today. And if you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, please feel free. It's very nice to see you all on what is a chilly day here in central Massachusetts. All right, folks, I think we're good to go. Looking at our poll. So far we've got social programs, mental health services, and program planning. And I definitely think we can loop these things all in together to get a good conversation going today. And then depending on how time goes, absolutely we can loop back to some of the other topics or anything that comes up. So tell us if you are somebody who voted for social programs, program planning, mental health services. How can we best support you today? What do you need from your fellow youth coordinators? See folks still introducing themselves in the chat. It's very nice to see you all. Many familiar faces today.
Hey everyone, this is Cassidy Thorne. I'm a white female in her early 30s. I think I can still call it early 30s. I have shoulder length brown hair. I'm wearing a multicolored sweater holding an orange pillow, and I have a green wall behind me that is my office. I also have several invisible disabilities ranging from psychiatric to cognitive that impact my mental health as well as the way I think. We are a pretty small center for independent living here in Seattle, Washington. We serve all of King County, which is a densely populated area, but our consumer count is low is the word I will use. And we're really trying to build our youth programming, but we are running into some obstacles. Mainly, like I said, finding the people. So we have lots of great ideas for programming, but the obstacle is finding the people. And I know before I worked at a center, I didn't know they existed. So I'm assuming that's part of the problem. So it might be a big question ranging from marketing and recruiting, but I'm hoping you guys have some answers for me.
That is an eternal problem is,
Is
if you build it, they will come, but is that always true? Sometimes not. Does anybody have thoughts or ideas for Cassidy?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Carrie McKee, Youth Outreach Coordinator in Berkeley, California. My pronouns are she, her, a white woman with short brown hair, more gray in it, day by day. We do a lot of school-based programs with the school districts. That's one way I've gotten word out. So we do like a self-advocacy workshop series where it's like a six module series where I go into local high schools as well as like a transitional young adult program. And I primarily network with special education teachers as well as like speech language pathologists, other specialist staff. And that is one way we've gotten the word out about the program. I also do like a social club program in our office space, and I have had some youth from the schools come to the social club program. And I guess next steps for me is kind of trying to figure out those one-on-one kind of services, really supporting the youth transition from living in the home to living independently in their community. So yeah,
This is
that's what I would
Cassidy
say.
again. Thank you, Carrie. Quick follow-up question. When you go
Yeah.
into the high schools, is that through
Uh-huh.
pre-eds or is that just through a relationship y'all built?
I'm not familiar with pre-ads.
It's excuse me, it's pre-employment transition services. It's usually provided through Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, but they have contracted out to a lot of centers. I worked at one in South Carolina, and we had a majority of the state contracts. So it was a fee for service that we got paid for through DVR. It just sounds very similar to what you were saying as far as 6-week curriculums.
Yeah, no, this is a workshop that we've built ourselves at the Center for Independent Living. And then, yeah, I personally reach out to school sites to offer the program. And then I made a connection with like the director of special education services for the all of Oakland Unified, which is a huge district. And so that is one way I've gotten my foot in the door, but it can be hard. Before working at CIL, I was a classroom teacher. So I think that it's I'd be happy to chat with you more about how I've done it, but yeah, it's kind of like word of mouth. Like once I can get in at one school, then they've referred me out to other sites and et cetera, and then asked me to come back and do additional workshops as well.
This is Cassidy. Very cool. And I would love to connect outside of this group, just maybe even to see your template that you sent to the principal to get that foot in the door and make it stick. Really excited that we can work around contracts and all of that jazz.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky time. There was like the schools where, with the pandemic, they weren't allowing outside visitors in, and it's slowly been opening back up.
I had a conversation with a still director from South Carolina recently who talked a lot about the pushback that can come from schools. If only because, us working in independent living, we are coming from that IL model, that disability first model. And so many of the larger systems that exist, that our youth with disabilities are participating in or just exist within are built heavily around that medical model. So it's really tricky sometimes to push past that ableism that can happen and even to get folks to see that there's another way. So I commend everybody who's doing that work. Um, and the other thing that this person said to me was that in IL, we kind of write the rule book. There isn't really a manual for IL. It's very much about doing what you got to do to make things happen. Um, which is why I think there's so much value in groups like this, because Carrie, obviously you have built such a great relationship with your school district that if other people can do the same thing in their areas, then maybe we do write that rule book a little bit, and that information can then be shared with everybody. So I appreciate all of that. Also, Carrie, I threw this in the chat, and I saw Ash just joined us. Hi, Ash. It's nice to see you. I know that there's a small group of youth coordinators working in California who are meeting very informally, just on a monthly basis. They don't have funding or anything, but they are starting to do some very cool things and trying to make connections across the state. So I would, if you're interested in being connected, there's at least one person here who's doing that work.
Hi, Abby. Nice seeing you again
Nice to
too.
see you.
Carrie actually is my colleague, so
Oh,
we
excellent.
is very connected with the coordinator call. But yeah, thanks for plugging us in.
I just found out about it from Andy Padilla the other night when we were chatting, and y'all are doing so cool. I love seeing just that grassroots level, like, all right, we're gonna do this and connect. So
Yeah, we all met at the April conference too, so that was nice.
that's so cool. Okay. In any case, thank you both. What else around program building and around social programs? How can we help? Anybody doing anything cool this month for March? There's a lot of holidays, big and small, in March, and holidays are such a nice structure I've found to build programming around, because they're already part of the school schedule too. Got Easter at the end of the month, there's Ramadan, we've got St. Patrick's Day. What are folks doing?
We're going to have our second summer youth program. This is Jordan from Disability Rights and Resources in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I use she, her pronouns. I always skip over the intro. But anyway, we tried a summer program last year in the if they build it, they will come style of doing. And we didn't have a large group, but we had about 6 folks, and we got a lot of really positive feedback about it, like being the highlight of the summer, and just that they were excited to get out and meet new people. We travel trained with the public transportation system around Charlotte to a couple of like local spots, not for anything too curriculum based, but just to get out and see that you can like explore the community. So we're doing that again this summer, and we're kind of skipping around the March holidays, but we should start in about a month. And I'm surprised at where this flyer has ended up, because like we got like the local fire department put it up on a bulletin board, and so if you have any kind of paper materials that you can kind of spread around just to see where they stick, that's worked for us.
I am shocked at the number of things that I have learned about via the bulletin board at a coffee shop. Whether that's, local plays, youth or social programs like this. People will take in a lot of information while they're standing there at wherever it may be, you know, Starbucks, Dunkin', whatever your local hang is. It really, word of mouth is, I think, one of the best ways to go about just getting information out there. So thank you, Jordan. I'm so excited to hear about summer programming. Summer can be really isolating for kids, especially kids living in rural, without access to good transportation or reliable transportation. So is anybody else running any summer programs this summer or anything that they're excited about and want to share with the group?
This is Cassidy again. On the topic of summer workshop, 3 out of 4 of our centers for independent living in Washington State are collaborating this year to bring one. We unfortunately don't have the contract for the Youth Leadership Forum, fingers crossed for the future, but we are putting on a week-long workshop at the University of Washington campus. So we're in that fun phase. I find it fun of finding speakers, creating curriculum, and just getting ready for some fun.
That's awesome. It really surprises me how many YLFs are not run by SILs or silks. They just go so hand in hand. But very cool that you're just going out and making your own thing. And if there's anything that April can do to help support, I know we've got the curriculums and things hanging out in the treasure troves, either of our website or just our own knowledge. So please let us know.
Yeah, this is Cassidy. Thank you so much, Abby. I will be reaching out just to see what you got. Maybe I can share what we got, combine all of the thoughts.
Excellent. One other thing I thought of around that, making connections with the schools. I grew up in New York State, and every school had a chair of special education, who was kind of the, you know, whether that's the school guidance counselor or another admin at the school who is responsible for maintaining IEPs and 504 plans. And I recently reached out to the CSE chair at the school that I graduated from, because I just had a personal relationship with her through our family, and she was able to share some information for me with the network of the rest of the CSE chairs in the Tri-County area of where I grew up. So I'm honestly not entirely sure the way that it's structured in all states, but all of those folks have relationships with each other as well. So that might be a place to start. So I'm still sharing the poll. I don't need to be doing that. Mental health services also came up. We had 4 different folks vote on the poll to chat about mental health services. How can we help today? Are we looking for how to build the programs? Are we looking for trying to connect people to mental health services? What can we do? I promise I don't bite.
This is Cassidy again. I did not vote for mental health, but since it's been brought up, we get a lot of calls, and I'm sure everyone does, of youth in crisis, whether that's a housing situation, a money situation, an abuse situation. And I guess with mental health, something we're trying to navigate the gray area of is we're not therapists, we are peers. And with the limited resources available in our area, where do we send them? So I'm wondering, I guess, what kind of groups you all hold or want to hold that support mental health while walking that fine line? And what do you not do to make sure that you're maintaining that role of a peer?
Um, this is Jordan. I just we had this kind of come up in a group where none of our staff have mental health um certification or expertise in that area, like in a clinical sense. Um, so uh, a youth had mentioned something that was concerning in a group setting, and we kind of pulled them aside and had that one-on-one chat, and we got them a resource guide together and who to contact. But I haven't really figured out a great way to make that like a presentation for everyone and make it a comfortable space to access those resources. But recently in North Carolina, there's an organization called Promise Resource Network that is peer led, like the mental health equivalent of Centers is how I mean they're really um, not medical model people either from the way that they're described, and they run a warm line. So it's not crisis intervention or wellness check, but it's someone to talk to 24/7. So I've given a lot of folks the 24/7 number in our area. If you have any peer led warm lines in the Seattle area, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. This is Cassidy again. I really like that idea, and I'm almost thinking of having just like a quick one pager, what to do if. And it could be a resource for staff as well as our participants in need to have something physical with that list of numbers you were talking about and resources available. I really like that. Thank you.
Does anybody else have thoughts or ideas that they can share? Also, if folks have things that they want to chat about today, things that they need help on, that is not from the poll is just a starting point. We're here to, talk about anything that needs discussing around the world of youth and youth coordinators. Is today one of those days where we're either hanging out at a meeting to make sure we're getting all the information, or I know that talking in, these national calls can be very much nerve-wracking or overstimulating or nervous making, but I very much promise that this is a very supportive group of folks, and that we all just want to make sure that folks have the things that they need to do the very vital work that they're doing. And thank you to everybody who has introduced themselves in the chat. It's really nice to see folks. I see we've got folks in Louisiana, Illinois, Iowa, California, Wyoming, North Carolina, Missouri, Washington. Working at a SIL, I think, can often feel like you're kind of on an island. I was kind of struck earlier by the Cassidy, your comment about, before you worked at a SIL, you didn't know they existed. Just from my own background, I very much came from I'm a music therapist, I'm board certified, and worked in, adult day programming, youth, I worked in hospitals, And it was very much extremely that like medical model space. So then learning about April and learning about SILS, it was like blew my mind. So I know that a goal of April and of a lot of the other independent living organizations is to help people know that this work is happening all over the country and that you are not in a vacuum and you're not on an island. So, we are here to support and to make sure that, folks have what they need. I'm letting somebody in from the waiting room, but it's not working. Well, I can also share some things that we have on the April docket coming up this month in March. This is not our only standing meeting. We host a variety of meetings. Tomorrow is our advocacy committee. And that is at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Last year, we went through the process of determining what we wanted our advocacy priorities to be. And so we've been really drilling down into talking about broadband access. We're working on launching a transportation specific subcommittee. One of our board members has, Kyle Kleist, has done a lot of work around transportation, and he'll be heading that up. We also host an emergency prep committee. Many of you probably know that the United States emergency and disaster response is often extremely not inclusive of people with disabilities. So folks are coming together to talk about that. That's the second Monday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And then next week, we actually have our youth steering committee, which is not just for youth, can also be for youth coordinators and folks who are interested in helping to plan the April Youth Conference. We've had some youth coordinators come to that call and who have become a really important part of supporting the young people who are putting that together. So that is on the second Monday of the month, actually in the evening, to accommodate, the after school and after work schedules of young people. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific. And we would be happy to see any of you there. Bring your know-how and your willingness to support. What else can we do for y'all today? Oh, go ahead, Ash.
Oh, hi. So I forgot to introduce myself with the image description. This is Ash Lunan. My pronouns are he, they. And image description, I'm an Asian person with blonde hair and also black sides, glasses, and a cozy orange winter coat. So my question is, our youth program at the Center for Independent Living is trying to build a summer program out, and we have been, last year was a struggle with getting attendance. So I think we're wondering how we can make collaborations with local organizations to build those numbers up. Do folks have any strategies with connecting with other local organizations who already have a base of youth to collaborate with?
Hi, Ash. This is Cassidy. I have been loving doing this over here. And one of the things I've put together is just a little what is disability presentation, because the purpose of it is to point out that disability knows no intersection. So I'm not necessarily reaching out to organizations that focus on disability, but I'm educating them that part of this intersection has a disability. So we're going in, for examples, to community centers, senior homes, places like that, and just educating on disability and IL and who we are, and opening that door for a partnership. And then with smaller organizations, especially nonprofits, I have another presentation portion of it that's all about siloing and how it's detrimental to everyone's mission. So it kind of gives the why, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, to build a partnership. And then it opens the door to that conversation. And worst case scenario, Ash, they let us put our brochures and flyers there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cassidy. That's helpful. We have done disability advocacy presentations with other organizations, but I like that it could be youth focused to partner with other youth organizations who aren't serving youth with, or who are serving youth with disabilities that we could connect with. So thank you for that.
Do other folks have any ideas? What are some cool community partnerships that any of you all have made or have wanted to make? And then how did you go about that? These don't even necessarily have to be youth focused either. If your SIL has another kind of community partnership that you think other people could benefit from hearing about, we would love to hear about it.
I'm so excited. This is Cassidy again. One of the coolest partnerships I was able to create was at a center where I worked in South Carolina. And we had the pre-employment transition services contract, but it was only for the public schools. I was able to make a contact at the Juvenile Justice Department and get in to several of those locations to teach pre-ets to people who are either transitioning out of incarceration or experiencing it, just based off the fact that it needs to be equal, and this is what their peers are getting on the quote unquote outside, and what we can do to deliver it to them. It was a really cool way to open the door and then kind of do what I believe it was. I can't remember their name. I'm so sorry. As far as starting the conversation and then getting more and more word out. It was Carrie with her school partnerships. I just remembered.
Very cool. The idea of the partnership with the criminal legal system and, getting in there and doing good work, that's very cool. Thank you for sharing, Cassidy. Crystal has asked in the chat, hi, this is Crystal from AIM SIL or AIM SIL in Downers Grove, Illinois. Do any of you work with the younger age groups like 10 to 14? And what are some programs and activities that you may be using with them? That is a great point. April's youth programming tends to start around the age of 15. So I would love to know what folks are doing with that younger age group, if anything. Tessa mentions in the chat, youth camp for individuals with disabilities to do a service project through pre-ets. Tessa, can you tell us some more about that via either the chat or if you'd like to unmute? Either way, I would love to know more about what that camp looks like. Hopefully while Tessa is typing, I can share, April has, we are partnering with them for our program to create toys for the animals, as in like pets, like cats and dogs, or are we talking like zoo animals? Either way, I love this. Farm animals, the secret third category that I did not talk about. Very cool. How did you bring that partnership about? Your transition fair, very cool. Was it your Sills concept? Was it the camps concept or the farms concept? Or did it just happen all at once? Partnership / collaboration. That's so cool. I have seen some very successful collaborations happen when folks working in Sills have come to the potential partner with an already formed idea. Many of us working in nonprofits know that the prospect of having to do more and extra work can feel extremely overwhelming. So if you are able to go to an organization and say, I have this great idea for a partnership and this is what we would need from you, and most importantly, here's how we can help you and your consumers, patrons, whoever it is in this case, bringing that to them in a nice package can be a really nice way to get a foot in the door. Laurel says, that's inspiring. I work for the SIL of the Key Largo, Florida. I would like to collaborate with an ocean or coral reef organization. That would be so cool. Way to use your natural resources. Kendra asks, looking to put on a transition fair, any tips or tricks on how to? I love this idea. Has anyone here hosted a transition fair? And if so, what can they share with Kendra?
So, I'm Heather Dooley. I'm with the Lynchburg Area Center for Independent Living in Lynchburg, Virginia. 40-year-old female, she, her, long, dirty blonde hair. Is that all the description stuff?
Yes, you're all good.
So in our area, we have 2 different transition councils, and the transition councils usually help with the transition fairs. And we've done them several different ways. So we've done them where it's kind of just like a vendor fair, open house, and parents and individuals can come learn about different resources, and we try to get as many people there. Or we've also done it where we've done like breakout sessions about different, usually pretty important topics for like youth or their parents. So it could be about waivers. I know every state has waivers, but like waivers, or it could be about what you may need to look into as they're turning 18. So either legal guardian, power of attorney, special needs trust funds, to what other day supports or other day programs they have out there, to transportation, to like, so we have different topics on that. And just trying to make sure like all of it's kind of rounded about. And then I was going to also piggyback about the collaboration thing. So it's not on the scale of what you guys, some of you guys have shared so far, but I have been trying or wanting to do like kind of like a youth social group for our youth in the area. We cover a very large area, so I'm just choosing one county to start in for right now. But I just never had kind of the manpower or could do it by myself working for a SEAL. But someone in one of our counties, Bedford County, reached out and she's like, well, do we have anything? And I was like, no, not really. And so within a week, about a month ago, her and I started a adult social group. It's 18 and older, but we are trying to aim it for the younger youth. Where right now it's every other week and they just come and hang out and play games and interact. But eventually we want to bring in like other resources to talk to them or take field trips or bring in like people to show how to do like a quick meal or here's how you grow your garden or so yes, we're combining it with older too, but I was like, at least it's a start. And I can say the last 2 meetings, we've had 12 individuals come, 9 of the same for each one. And I have left with a very happy heart because to me, that makes a difference of somebody living independently is like they get to have that social aspect. Everybody likes it. They're having a great time. They go home. Their parents are texting me later, like they had such a good time. And some of them are advocating like, you had too many dairy snacks and I'm lactose intolerant. And they actually told us, and I'm like, that's so great that you're advocating for yourself. So like, it's just made like my heart very happy. Even if it's just 12 people, it made a difference for 12 people. So, but it was because of collaboration and her getting it. She's like, oh, I've got the place and I've got this. You just bring the people. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's kind of how that happened. But if somebody else needs some ideas on the transition stuff, I can drop my info in the chat because I've helped with the transition fairs and forums for years now. So
Thank you so much, Heather, for sharing about your peer support group and about the transition fairs. That is all excellent information. Sometimes it is kind of about, having the right person who's willing to and able to do the work. But it's great that it's so successful and that the group already feels comfortable enough to advocate for what they want and need.
right. Oh, I've got one. The first meeting, he's like, this is gonna grow, right? We're gonna have our own building, right? Like we're gonna have our own building and you're gonna have really good snacks. And I'm like, okay, I love your ambition and I love that you want it to grow to this, but we gotta start small. We're just meeting in a church right now because it's a building we can use. But he's all about us being this like big, huge thing and having our own building. And I'm like, okay, all right, we can aim high.
Folks gotta dream big. Absolutely. Really good snacks is a very good call. Food is, I think, a big motivator for a lot of folks. So if you get good food going, April, I started talking about this earlier. We have a partnership with an organization called Disability Empower Network, which serves women, girls, and femme-aligned non-binary individuals with disabilities, working on leadership skills and independence skills in a variety of ways and programs. And they run a monthly program local to where they are, where they have a youth version and then an adult version. And the youth version is inclusive of, I believe as young as 6 or 7 up to young people who are in that transition age between, 18 and 21, which is what it is in New York State. And they meet monthly. One time they all got to go to a local baseball game together. They are using a kitchen in a church basement to learn how to bake or cook. They get together and they create vision boards. They've done mall scavenger hunts. And just all of these different ideas where they, are pulling people in for the super cool, fun activity, but also while they're there, sneaking in that work around goal setting, around, some travel training, how to advocate for yourself in a public space, making those social peer connections. So while not a still some very cool projects and ideas. And there's no one saying that your ideas have to look exactly like what other people are doing. If you've got something cool and exciting that you want to try, then, far be it from anybody to stop you, as long as you can make it happen. All right, we have about 15 minutes left of our call today. I want to make sure that folks have the opportunity to ask questions or share. If folks are interested in learning more from anybody who's already shared, Heather did put her email address in the chat, and I'll be sharing mine, of course, before we head out. How else can we help today? Oh, I do also want to acknowledge Laurel said earlier in response to Kendra asking about transition fairs, reach out to the community that serves youth. I've been reaching out to the local police department and their student programs. Very cool. Definitely important for young people to be familiar with their local emergency services, especially the younger kids. Police officers, firefighters, EMTs, those people can feel scary because they often show up in situations that feel scary. So helping folks get connected, I think is some good work. I want to come back to Crystal's question. Crystal had asked earlier about any work that anybody's doing with younger age groups. Are you all running any youth programs or doing any individual work with kids in that elementary school age range?
Hey, this is Cassidy. So not at my current cell, but at a previous one, we had a youth transition specialist who just did not connect with high schoolers. To be fair, they're terrifying. So she used part of a grant, and I'm racking my brain to remember which one. It was not free funding. I can't remember the name of it, if it's just funds that you can use for whatever.
Unrestricted?
But thank you, Abby, unrestricted. And she created kind of a pre-employment transition service curriculum, which went around self-advocacy, goal setting, work readiness, and kind of took it down a notch. So instead of thinking about asking for accommodations at work and finding a job that interests you and you want to be able to do, she focused more on what would be a cool job? What would you need to do that? And she always referenced this one meme of a daughter who wanted to be an astronaut someday. And the mom said, you're going to have to go to college for 8 years. You're going to have to get your certification. You're going to be okay in gravity. And she went, that's like 3 things. So it's just a really funny way that she figured out how to interact with them to start the foundation of those concepts that we then bring to high schoolers as like a 201.
I love that. Get them in early. Get them thinking about what they could dream about, and let them know that, their options don't have to be limited.
And this is Cassidy again. Last comment. She also brought in healthy relationships and like an 8 to 11-year-old model of talking about your body, your rights, and what a healthy relationship looks like and what to do if you feel unsafe. And it was, again, just a really elementary thing, but it sparked some interesting conversations. And the teacher was definitely thrilled that, oh, that was a great way to introduce what can be a really tricky subject. So healthy relationships, work readiness, I can't think of the others, but I would be happy to ask her if she would be comfortable with me sharing her email, if that's something you're interested in doing more with.
Crystal says, good concept. Thanks, Cassidy. And Laurel also shares, I find organizations will talk to me the most at local events and fairs I go to, many on the weekends, and volunteer for them as well, like at health fairs. I actually had a decent amount of luck connecting with people at a youth pride event. I live in Massachusetts, and Boston hosts a pride festival for youth, specific, LGBT youth and their families every summer. And so I went and I brought my business cards, and I started walking around and chatting with people at organizations who had, similar missions, either whether it be just, missions around youth, connecting with other disability organizations. And I just, chatted people up, exchanged business cards, and ended up getting the coolest conversation I ended up having was with folks at the Boston Public Library who wanted to learn more about how they could make their events more accessible to youth with disabilities. So truly, as I'm saying this as a person who's autistic, networking can feel really bad and difficult, but it also can lead you to very cool relationships and conversations, and it at least gets people thinking about the ways in which you as people, you as organizations can connect. So don't discount those local events. That's a really great idea, Laurel. Thank you. All right, we have about 10 minutes. Is there anything else that folks want to touch on? Anything else that folks need some advice on, or wins that anybody wants to share? All right, folks, I think I will give us back the last 8 minutes of this meeting. And it was such a pleasure chatting with everybody today. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, if you want to, chat more on a one-to-one basis, please don't hesitate to reach out. And our next call will be, the first Tuesday of the month. So that will be April 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Abby. Bye.
Thank you.
Nice to see you all.